So you've just inherited a house and it has a reverse mortgage on it. What does that mean? You may be thinking, does this mean that the bank owns my house? Slow down a minute. Let's take a look and digest what it looks like if you've just inherited a home that has a reverse mortgage, because there's a few things that are important to know. So in this video, I'll break down what it means for you as an heir that's inherited a home with a reverse mortgage, so that you don't have to panic and you can slow down and take your time and understand what it actually means and what you really need to do. Let's take a look and break it down now. What is a reverse mortgage? What is a mortgage? Well, it's a type of financing that many people over 62 years old have used to create more money for their retirement, or maybe even purchase a home without a payment. There are multiple ways that you can do this. If you're refinancing and trying to pull some money out to add to your retirement, you can do this where instead of making a monthly payment, every month the reverse mortgage company or the bank sends you money. Or maybe you'd have the option where instead of pulling out money every month, you just take out money for unexpected expenses when you need it. The third option that this can be used for is when you buy a home. Let's say that someone over 62 years old wants to purchase a new home and they have a lot of money to put down. We're talking like 45 to 65% usually. They can use a reverse mortgage for purchase. The amount down needed depends on their age, and they're able to purchase the home without a monthly payment. They do still have to pay for their property taxes and their insurance, but there is no direct mortgage payment during their lifetime. But here's the catch. Once that homeowner passes away, the mortgage becomes due, usually within a year. So it's important to understand your timelines and what you need to do specifically so that you don't feel rushed or stressed out. I've actually met a family who had this going on, and their home that they inherited, which they were living in, was actually facing foreclosure. Their auction date was only 4 days from when we met. So if you want to talk about stressful, that's the definition of it. But there's still something that they could have done. There's still ways that they could have saved the home, and we're going to go through what you can do so that you're not faced with that stressful of a situation. The first thing that you'll want to do is contact the lender. Well, you may be thinking that the time's ticking. You're not wrong, but it's important to understand what you need to do and what your options are so that you can fit it into that timeline in a way that works without creating undue stress for you. Because when you're inheriting a home, the last thing you need is extra surprises or stress you didn't ask for. So let's look at the three main paths that you have to choose from when inheriting a home with a reverse mortgage. Number one is you just sell the place. Now, when you sell the place, you satisfy the loan because the loan is on the title of the property as a lien. So when you sell the home, the amount owed on the reverse mortgage will have to be paid. Typically, this looks like the original balance that they borrowed plus the interest for the time that they've had the loan. Remember how I said they didn't make payments every month? Well, that includes the interest, and that interest is added on to the amount owed from the original amount borrowed at time of death. So let's say that this person had the reverse mortgage for 5 or 10 years. Well, that means that that 5 or 10 year period worth of interest would be tacked on to the amount borrowed, which would be due once the home sold. So this doesn't mean that the bank actually owns the home and there's nothing you can do. Many people that I've worked with are surprised to learn that there's enough equity in the home that they could sell it and still walk away with a few bucks to go invest or just help them out in their lives. Option number two is you may be thinking, well, I've been living in the home that I just inherited and I'm not old enough to get a reverse mortgage. What do? I want to keep living here. Well, the answer for that is that you would need to refinance the home. How does this look? Well, you call up a lender, and if you need a recommendation, I have some great people that I work with that look at options that fit for specific people. So they don't just say, this is what we offer, here, take it. They actually look at your situation and understand what you're going through to find the best option for you specifically. So when you refinance the home, that's how you satisfy the reverse mortgage. So it resolves the timeline and the pressure. Refinancing a home that you inherited with a reverse mortgage won't take an entire year, but it could take a couple of months depending on the bank that you work with. So it's important to get started and understand your options right away if this is the route that you're going to go. The importance of starting early, if this is your choice, is so that you have time to pivot if your plan isn't working out the way that you expected. So the idea here is that you get a loan, your refinance, for the amount that's owed to satisfy the reverse mortgage. Now, the remaining equity in the home, that still stays in the home, and it's yours to enjoy and to continue gaining the appreciation of. Now, what if you need to free up some money? Depending on your situation, you may qualify to pull out some of that extra equity if you need access to cash to make improvements or things like that for the home. Option number 3. Let's say that you inherited a home, you didn't do anything, it has a reverse mortgage on it, it's almost been a year, you come home one day or go to your parents' home and see this horribly stressful sign called a notice of trustee sale. That's posted on homes as part of compliance, and it means that you were at least 3 months. That means that you're at least 3 months outside of when you're supposed to satisfy the loan. And at this point, the notice of trustee sale is telling you that you have at minimum of 21 days before the home is actually auctioned off. Now, if you're in this stressful of a situation, there are still many things that you can do, and I would encourage you to call me or text me right away, 760-697-5661. In that situation, the last thing you want to do is nothing, because the equity that you do have in the home could be lost if you have any. Now, on the reverse side, let's say that more is owed on the home than it's worth. So let's say that for the reverse mortgage, you owe $500,000. And because of the condition of the home or factors of the economy or the market, the home's only worth $400,000. Now that $100,000 difference, as a beneficiary, you're okay, because reverse mortgages are non-recourse loans. That means that you're not responsible for that overage. So while they could foreclose on the home, and while they could take what the home's worth to recover the amount owed, if the amount owed is over what they're able to recover, you as the beneficiary are not directly responsible. Here's where this gets challenging. It's not just a financial issue, there's an emotional component too. And then if you have siblings that are involved, there's a whole nother aspect. Maybe everyone's not on the same page about it. Maybe some people think that they know about reverse mortgages, but maybe their information's dated. Reverse mortgages have changed in the last few years. They're now FHA backed because so many in the past were predatory. So the government stepped in to provide consumers with more protection for this loan product. So remember, while your siblings may not be on the same page, maybe you're feeling guilty about having to sell a family home, or maybe you live in another city or state, and on top of doing all of the legal paperwork, settling someone's estate, and dealing with the grief that you have to deal with, this just seems really big. And while that's a challenge and all of that stuff is real, what's really helpful is clarity. So here's a few steps that I would take if I was in your shoes in dealing with the home that I inherited with a reverse mortgage. Step 1 is to contact the lender. Be transparent with them and let them know what's going on. Let them know when your parent or grandparent passed away. They may be asking for things like death certificates and copies of that. Get the copies that they need and ask for where you can forward that information to. It may be through fax, email, or regular old snail mail. The more communicative you are with the banks, in my experience, the more willing they are to work with you. So communication is big, especially if you're in a situation where you're going, oh shoot, I had no idea this was a thing, and now I've got a notice of trustee sale. Call me right away. I can give you an idea of what the home's worth for free, and I can give you a clear idea of what your options actually are and how those will affect you so you can make the best decision for you and your family. Step 4 is to understand the legal implications. Depending on if the property has to go through probate or a trust, is going to influence how you address this and what you need to do. If you haven't spoken with an attorney yet or you need a recommendation, let me know. I'd be happy to connect you with a few people that I love working with. The great news is that you don't have to do this alone. This is exactly what I specialize in. As someone who's inherited a home and one with a reverse mortgage myself, This is exactly how I help people, so that you don't have to juggle all the timelines, the tax issues, the legal issues all at once. I help you create a clear path so that you know what to do and you're not wondering what if, what happens next. Inheriting a home with a reverse mortgage can feel overwhelming, and I commend you for all that you're having to do and sort out. The easiest way through this is to realize that you're not doing it alone. You can reach out to me at whatever way feels comfortable for you so that you can have a clear path forward and know what your options are.